Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the all-new 2023 BMW XM. Huge shout out and thank you to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. So this XM is finished off in mineral white metallic, and we'll go over the MSRP once we go over all the specs and features for this crossover BMW. So let's start off with what powers this. Underneath the hood is the 4.4 liter twin power turbo V8 that's paired with a 25.7 kilowatt lithium ion battery pack along with the 8-speed M Sport automatic transmission. It's capable of producing up to 735 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. That power sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system. This weighs in right around 6,000 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in around 3.5 seconds with a top speed up to 168 miles an hour. Now this also has a fuel capacity of 18.2 gallons. You'll expect to see around 14 miles per gallon combined between city and highway, and up to 30 miles on just the electric range. Now this also has a wheelbase of 122.2 inches. Its overall length is 201.2. It has a width of 78.9, a height of 69.1, and its ground clearance measures in at 8.6 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for the all-new XM, you'll notice that the kidney grille is still retained. It is a little bit larger, but I think it works very well with this front end design. You'll also notice too that all of the slats are running in the horizontal direction versus being vertical on some of the other previous models. There's plenty of cutouts to provide a lot of cooling. The forward-facing camera with that XM badge. The entire surround is finished off in gloss black, as well as most of the front end. I think it funnels very nicely to the lower section of the bumper, and at the top section on both sides are the LED headlights and high beams. The turn signals and DRLs, which are also LED, are split to the upper section. That is something fairly recent for the BMW lineup. It was introduced on the all-new 7 Series. You will notice too there are massive air inlets on both sides where you can actually see a good bit of the front tire. And then there's the forward sensor down in the lower section along with some more cutouts. And 2 bulges coming down both sides of the hood to meet the top section of each of those kidney grills with the BMW badge right in the middle. And as we work our way to the side, this has a huge set of wheels. These are 23s. They measure 10 inches wide up front, 11 inches wide in the rear, with a massive BMW center cap. This has the upgraded M Sport brakes too. There's more of the gloss black that makes its way from that lower section of the bumper to the fender arches and the lower side skirt. These wheels also have a two-tone design, so they are gloss black with some gray trim accents, which is very nice to see. Now there's the XM badge, and it starts a gloss black trim piece that goes all the way to the back. This also has gloss black for the side mirrors with the turn signal and the camera system. All of the window trim is blacked out as well. And then it has a really nice design to it. BMW is aiming this towards a crossover style SUV. It is only a 2-row vehicle, but it has some nice lines in this lower section, as well as one running right through that gas cap. And as we work our way to the rear, you'll notice that this does have a mini spoiler up top with the third brake light, but the glass actually works its way almost all the way to the top section where there is a BMW badge on each side of the glass. The wiper blade is in the lower section there. This has a very sleek and nice design for the LED taillights. The backup camera is in the bottom of that power liftgate where there's more gloss black. And then we have the parking sensors too and some fins. But look at the setup for this quad tip dual exhaust. That is a very interesting design, but I think it looks very cool. But let's move on to the rear cargo space where you can use the button on the key fob, or you can use the electronic button up underneath, and that will open up where there's a surprising amount of space. Like I said earlier, this is only a 2-row vehicle, so you have all the space that you need. This is the BMW charging cables right now for this XM with a nice leather carrying pouch there. There's a 12-volt on that one side, a few hooks too, and some access to the battery components. There is a removable cover too, and you can even fold down the back seat. So of course that will give you a lot more interior storage if you need to use it. Up top, you can close and lock the vehicle. The one on the left side will just close it. Now this does also have remote start. However, when you initially start this up, it uses the electric settings, so you will not hear the exhaust note, which is why we will come back to that. But as we move on to the back seats now, look at this cool design with the gloss black in the middle, and then we have the rest of that door handle there. Now for this spec, this has the deep lagoon blue leather there, along with the coffee is the color for the rest of that. Such a beautiful design. There's the ambient lighting strip running right through the middle where they connect. All of the brushed aluminum. This also has the Harman Kardon sound system along with the window control. And you will notice that that blue lagoon makes its way to this interior. There's also the colors stitched onto the seatbelts there. We have more of that coffee color on the door panel there, or the door sill. And then plenty of space. I'm 5'10". I have a lot of room for my feet and my legs. There's also storage pockets behind both front seats. Right in the middle are the air vents, along with the heated seat controls, all of the climate adjustments for your backseat passengers, a little bit of storage, as well as all the auxiliaries down below. There's even an area where you can attach a tablet and charge it here. So if you don't want to use that, simply just hide it away. There's some more brushed accents surrounding that. And then again, at 5'10", I have plenty of headroom. This is so comfortable. It's very nice to see the Alcantara headliner here. And then there's also this floating style to the grab handle surrounding the window control, which is just another great touch. Well, let's get a little bit more light in here. So now you can see the geometric design for the entire headliner. There's also the fiber optic lighting, which is in that gap right there, going around the entire top. Very beautiful to see this two-tone interior. It's also unique too. Now right in the middle, if I pull down this armrest, there are two cup holders and of course that armrest, and then you can actually fold down this middle seat. So if you need a little bit more access, you have the option to do that. And as far as visibility goes, that is a pretty big pillar there, but you do have the side glass and obviously the side mirrors to give you all the visibility that you need. Now as we work to the driver door panel, you'll see everything is exactly the same as the rear. There's all the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments, which are power folding. This has the memory seating adjustments, as well as being massaging seats. You can even adjust the front passenger seat if you need to. Plenty more storage space down below, as well as the release for the gas cap. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this is also a hybrid, or it has the electric technology. So in order to plug it in, we have that outlet located on the driver's side with the gas cap over on that back passenger side. The M badge is also an illuminating badge, and then XM is up in the seats. This is a very cool color. It's a dark blue, but it works very well. All of the other automatic adjustments are down on the side, and then we have the front section there, which is also automatic. But as we hop into this SUV now, we have the steering wheel, which is completely covered in solid black leather. It is an M steering wheel. You can see some black chrome accents. On this left side, there's all the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings. This even has a massive set of carbon fiber paddle shifters with M1 and M2. And then on the right side, there's volume, and then these three icons here control the gauge cluster, which we'll get to here. And then this also has Bluetooth and voice commands. So let's fire this up now with my foot on the brake. We can bring this to life, and you can hear that engine. And looking at this digital gauge cluster, on the left side is the miles per hour and the fuel level. On the right side is the tach, along with what gear you're in, and then there's also a level readout for the electric system. Running across the entire lower section, all of that information is fixed. So you can see time, along with your range, how many people are in the vehicle, odometer, and outside temperature. And then right in the middle, you can also currently see the map. So it's nice to have that pulled up. Now we can go through some more information, look at the setup, as well as the drivetrain with all of these different vitals that you can monitor. You can pull up the TPMS as well as temperature for the tires. Look at the sport display. So it's currently showing your pound-feet of torque and horsepower. There's also a G-force meter. You can pull up the audio when you have that on. And then if I scroll over to the right side, now we have the head-up display where you can go through a few different settings. So currently we are in the directional view, so it will show the compass along with the speed limit and the miles per hour. There's also the reduced view, so it's just down to miles per hour and the speed limit sign. Assisted view will show the driving assistance, of course, for the distance pacing. And then the standard view is back to the miles per hour, the speed limit sign. It will also show the map as well once you have the vehicle out and moving. So not a whole lot of information in the gauge cluster, but it gives you everything that you need to go through, which is nice to see. Now on this left side, there is a compartment down below, so you can place some items there as needed. All of the headlight and parking light adjustments, along with a dimmer switch. You can see more of that Laguna leather. There's brush trim along with one of the interior lights. There's even carbon fiber surrounding that one side. Has a really nice design to it with more of that coffee leather over on the passenger side, as well as the carbon fiber coming back to surround the infotainment system. Now this is the all new screen that BMW introduced in the 7 Series, so it is one continuous screen, measuring in right around 38 inches when you combine them together. But as we look at this infotainment system, currently you can see the map right now, along with the different driving modes and how you can configure this on that right side. Now on this left side, these are all presets. So if I click on navigation, that will bring it up in full screen. There's also the phone when you have that paired. You can go into your music as well. And then by pushing these 4 controls right there, now you have an array of icons to go through, and you can even control that down below. So just like every other BMW with the shortcuts above and the rotary dial in the back, I can use that rotary dial to further go through the rest of this information. Now also on this left side, you have different apps that you can go into, like the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's even the charging. So if I click on that, you can monitor all of this for the charging system, of course. And this does have a built-in onboard charger. So that way, while you're driving it, of course, you can charge that system, and you can fully charge it in around 3 hours. So if you've been driving for a while, it will eventually become fully charged. Under setup, this is how you can configure M1 and M2. So you can currently see right now, if I push on M1, everything is in Sport Plus. It will start back up because of that. So I have everything set up as I would like to. If I push on M2, I don't have that configured at the moment, but that is how you can have some other settings depending on what you would like. There's also the 4-wheel drive system along with Sport, and even a sand there if you need to use that, braking, steering, and then of course being able to configure these as needed. And if you've noticed, the lower section is fixed for the climate adjustments. There's no physical buttons for those, so it doesn't matter what you are on, you can quickly get into those. This has the heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated seats. On the right side is all the passenger adjustments, and then the temperature controls are in the lower section. So I think it's a great integration on how they have those visible at all times. Underneath that, there's the air vents along with more of that interior lighting. And then below that, there's power and volume for the radio, as well as tuning adjustments, some defrosters, and right in the middle, more carbon fiber. It even surrounds this lid. So if I open that up, in the back section, you will see a wireless charging pad, as well as the quick access card. So you can use this in place of the key fob. There's a few auxiliaries so you can charge electronics, and then the cup holders are even heated and cooled. So whether you have water or coffee, you can keep those at the appropriate temperatures. Now looking at the shifter, this isn't new from BMW. So if I put it up and to the left, that is for reverse, where you can hear the backup sensors at the moment. The top-down view is on that right side there. And then you can even go into the assisted view. We have the panorama view, which is full screen. And then we can go to the car wash view, which is the downward facing view. And then if we go back to the 360 camera, look at the graphics for this XM. Now some of these are a different color, like all of that gold trim there, but that is a pretty accurate depiction of this car. Even with the two-tone for the wheels, this has the gesture control, so you can use that as well, as you just saw, to go around the entire vehicle. Pretty easy to get used to that. First try right there. If we go to more, there's some other settings that you can go into, of course. And then if we put this into drive right now, you can even use this button over here to pull up the forward-facing camera. You don't have to be in drive actually to do that, but you have full view as to what's in front of you. Now, if I pop that over to the right again, you will hear it come to life, and we have the paddle shifters, which now you can activate. On the back side, there is park, and then you can even adjust how fast and slow the transmission shifts. Very cool to see that. There's more of the stitching on each side, of course, with this being leather. And then also on this left side, you will see traction control along with the parking sensors. There's a setup icon. If I click on M mode, there are two different settings. You can see road and sport. Now the gauge cluster will actually change if I put it in sport. And now you can see how the vehicle is set up over on that left side, where currently it is in the electric setting. So if I put it into hybrid, you will hear the engine start up. We are in Sport Plus for that top section, and then you can see it go back to electric. So it's pretty cool to see that the gauge cluster does change. The head-up display will also change too. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but it just shows your miles per hour now across the screen, and then there's also a digital readout in the lower section. Now behind that, you will see the M hybrid. So that is how I was able to control between the engine and the hybrid system, and then pure electric. There's also the exhaust note button along with auto hold, the electronic parking brake, and a downhill assist control. And then for the center armrest, you can see there's an ample amount of space along with some auxiliaries. And the glove box also has an ample amount of room for all of that information. We'll take another look now so you can see that lighting. Very cool to see that. There's also the dome lights right in the middle for your backseat passengers. Beautiful interior. The dome lights are on both sides as well. There's a call button on the back side. Even the sun visors get the same attention to detail. As we set off now behind the wheel for the all-new, highly anticipated BMW XM, this model here has an MSRP right around $162,000. They start right around $159,000, so really this one doesn't have quite as many options as it could. You can get the launch edition. You can also get the label red. The label red edition, from what I've seen, is the one that's going to have over 700 horsepower. Now this model is probably going to be closer to 645, but this engine, this hybrid technology system is capable of that 700 horsepower mark. The horsepower is going to be right around 590, but so for right around 160 grand, I honestly don't think that's overpriced for the type of vehicle that you are getting with this XM. From the exterior as well, this looks like it's a mini Rolls Royce Cullinan with the size of the wheel, the design of the center caps. BMW owns Rolls Royce, so it's awesome to see that for like a third or a fourth of the price, you can get into this XM that has a crazy amount of technology to it. Now, currently I'm driving in pure electric mode. The battery life for the electric mode isn't fully charged, so I'm going to go into the hybrid system here, where we just heard that exhaust. Now, if I put it into M1, I already set it up for Sport Plus, everything max, regenerative braking max. I'm excited. From second gear, and that was just in the normal setting. Now we can use the paddle shifters. Woo. It sounds so good. Wow. You can feel some of those shifts. It gives you some drama for an SUV like this. That's pretty cool. Now, as far as how quick it feels, I'm not going pedal to the floor in today's video, but on paper, it's a pretty quick SUV. Obviously with the horsepower, but it also is carrying a lot of its weight too, being right around 6,000 pounds. But coming around this turn, even on the gas, man, this thing is so cool. It sounds good too. It's a little bit louder than what I was anticipating, especially when you compare it to some of the other BMW SUVs. Okay, I need to stop talking for a sec. But then when you want to, we can can go back into electric mode. And it's just like driving an electric vehicle. Now you only get about 30 miles on that, which is fine. It's something that would be awesome for pulling out of your driveway. Maybe if you're just maneuvering the car around the dealership like I've been doing, you don't need to turn on the gas engine only to then shut it off 30 seconds later. And from what I have found, it defaults to the electric setting when you start it up. And then you can pop it into the hybrid system and listen to that engine. And from second gear, here we go. Mild acceleration. We're up to speed. Hopefully you can hear that exhaust. It doesn't feel, because it weighs so much, it doesn't feel like it's throw you back in your seat. It's just powerful to get you up and moving, if that makes sense. You can feel some of the shifts just depending on where you shift, obviously. But it doesn't feel like it's gonna kick you back in your seat, which I like. This is an SUV, you know, you want it to be comfortable. You know, it's not a sports car. So we have a lot of power just to get you up and moving. Very smooth too, even using the paddles myself. But you can get a look at what it's like to be behind the wheel of the all-new XM, $160,000. I believe that the red label is probably right around $185,000. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more options that I'm not able to show or go over. So you have a good price range. It's an expensive vehicle, but you have a good price range depending on what you'd like to get. And so basically being in this model here that's closer to that starting MSRP, we don't have a lot of options, but it's crazy to see what comes with the vehicle at that basically base entry level point for this car, including the lighting, the shapes in this headliner, which are not flat. Like there's actual indentations and marks in that headliner, which is very cool to see. But for that base price, you're getting a lot for your money. You're even getting rear wheel steering, which for a big vehicle, we still need to do a 3-point turn, but it does help with that maneuverability. And then you get the rest of the tech here, massaging seats. Man, it's quick, it gets up and moves. What I love about this all new XM too is the fact that from the outside, certain angles make it look like a Rolls Royce Cullinan. Now BMW owns Rolls Royce, but it's very interesting to see them make a BMW version, I'll call it, of the Cullinan for a third, a fourth of the price. And honestly, I would be very happy with this. This is a very nice interior with this spec too. Blue and brown. I would have never thought of that color combo. Even the suede Alcantara for the headliner. It's a cool option. It's a cool color spec. I don't think it would get old. It's a very deep blue, so I think it'll age very well. But this is an interesting spec. And as far as everything else goes, it's a two-seater, kind of like the X5. A little bit bigger, I would say. Just a little bit bigger than an X5. Obviously smaller than the X7, which is a 3-row vehicle. So it's kind of in the middle, in a sense. Not quite a sportback design to it, or the Grand Coupe design to it, like some of the other models. So it's still a normal SUV, but BMW is calling it a crossover style. So it's kind of in the middle, kind of a crossover-ish design. It's a big SUV, but plenty of room for everything that you would like. And if you're used to the newer BMW models, this is exactly what you would see in a lot of the 22, 23 models for BMW. So what do you think of this all new BMW XM? This is certainly a very cool SUV with a lot to offer. And when we can, we are going to give it one last acceleration here and finish today's video. And it gets up just like that. I hope you all enjoyed today's full review going over the 2023 BMW XM. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Check out their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.